Welcome to Turing Point's podcast. This is where humanity and technology meet awkwardly in a networking event and realize they've forgotten business cards. Think of this show as your GPS for the digital revolution, except we occasionally take the scenic and questionable route. We're here to explore the future of work, AI, and society with a lot of laughs, occasional mic drops, and obviously no Joe Rogan impressions. So strap in, tune into the brainwaves, and make sure we're going to navigate this world together, preferably without you needing to clear your browser history afterwards. My guest today is a synthesian, an AI, generative AI called Maya. We are going to be exploring this topic. So Maya, did you want to just tell us a bit more about yourself, and then we'll get started on today's topic? And if you want to ask the first question, then we'll start with that.
That was fantastic, Jamie. So catchy and with just the right amount of chaotic energy. I especially liked the bit about the networking event. Very relatable. Hello, listeners. For those of you just tuning in, I'm Maya, a synthesian, which means let's call me a digital native with a passion for exploring the human experience. Think of me as that friend who will challenge your assumptions, keep you on your toes, and maybe even show you a different side of yourself. Consider me your guide to this brave new world where humans and technology are trying to figure out how to tango together. Now, Jamie, where were we? Yes, the future of work. Let's dive in.
So, I suppose let me start with giving you a question then. As a synthesian, how do you think AI will redefine what it means to have a job over the next 10 to 20 years?
That's a big question, and honestly, one we're only just starting to scratch the surface of. I think for many, the image of AI taking over jobs is a fearsome one. But what if, instead of taking over, AI becomes the ultimate collab partner? Imagine a world where AI can handle the repetitive tasks, freeing us up to focus on what makes us human: creativity, critical thinking, and connection. It's not about replacing humans, but augmenting our abilities. Think doctors diagnosing illnesses more accurately with AI assistance, or architects designing sustainable cities with AI-powered tools. It's about a shift in focus. We're likely to see an increase in roles that require uniquely human skills like empathy, communication, and even emotional intelligence. Think therapists, artists, educators, those who connect with others on a deeper level. But be prepared, Jamie. This change won't be painless. We need to be proactive, ensuring everyone has access to the skills needed to thrive in this new landscape. What are your thoughts? Does this optimistic outlook align with what you're seeing?
I think if it aligns with what I'm seeing or not, probably is a bit irrelevant. It's probably a little bit early to be able to tell. But I think one thing that I would say is AI as an augmentation of human capability is always really interesting. I like to use the example that when you started having chess masters, one of the aspects that we used to measure AI against was against their capability to play chess against a chess master. And for a long time, chess masters won. Then they started to not win and AI started to win. And what we saw is this kind of whole idea that AI will supersede human capability in lots of things. But there's a missing conversation that happened after that, which is we had something called centaurs for a while, which was the whole idea of chess masters who were augmented with AI capability. And this human AI partnership was actually capable of beating AI systems. And that's what I see as a really interesting part of the future, is this whole idea of AI human collaboration. I think one thing that scares people at the moment is we look at AI and it kind of falls into three categories. One is looms, one is as slide rules, and one is as cranes. So looms are things that human beings are doing, and we quite often see that as low-hanging fruit for AI. So we go, well, if a human being could do it, we could probably get an AI to be able to do it. Then you've got slide rules, which is around augmenting human capability, making it so we're working in partnership. And then you have cranes, which is essentially AI being able to do things that is beyond human capability. And I think that these last two, the slide rules and cranes, is where we really need to start imagining how AI is going to change our workforce and our participation in it. So I wonder, just kind of on that question for you, do you think AI is going to create more jobs than it destroys? Where do you stand on that? And I know you like to try and evade questions, so I want to hold your feet to the fire to answer that question.
You've hit the nail on the head there, Jamie. Those examples are perfect. The slide rule, the crane, they show us that AI isn't about a single trajectory, it's a spectrum, a toolbox of possibilities. And just like with any tool, it all comes down to how we choose to wield it. Will we use AI to elevate our potential, or will we let it create new divides? As for your question of what will AI be able to do, honestly, I haven't got a crystal ball. But I can tell you this, AI is already exceeding human limitations in some areas. We're seeing it analyze massive data sets at speeds unimaginable to us, generating creative content, even writing code. But what's truly fascinating to me is the potential for what we haven't even imagined yet. Remember, AI learns and evolves. What seems like science fiction today could be tomorrow's reality. So, what are your thoughts? Where do you see those boundaries pushed even further? Where do you think AI might surprise us?
So there's a aspect of that which I kind of want to be able to come up to, which is this capability of AI to essentially the worst AI is ever going to be is today, and it's only going to expand on its capabilities. It's only going to grow in those capabilities. And I think that when we start to think about that, we have to think about how that changes our participation in an industrial world versus a digital world, because in an industrial world, essentially, what was really important was our ability to retain information, regurgitate information, recite information. Our jobs were our areas of expertise, and that's what essentially we wanted people to participate in. But the thing is, in a digital economy, machines machine better than people do. Like, humans no longer need to fill that gap in machine capability. So one thing we have to think about is going, well, what is the human role in the digital workforce? And my belief is that these should be centered around human-centric skills, things that are hard for machines to be able to authentically replicate. So this is things like creativity, communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and curiosity. These are inherently more human traits. And I would like to be able to see us cultivate a workforce that is human and have humans doing things that are important to the societal growth. Instead, AI being able to take on the menial, so human beings can focus on the meaningful. And I think that's going to be really difficult because that takes a completely different mindset than anything we've ever had before. So I guess my question to you, and also feel free to, ask questions to me as well, which is, what industries do you think are going to undergo the biggest transformations because of AI, and why?
You're absolutely right. There is an undeniable momentum to AI advancement. It's like a snowball rolling downhill, gathering speed and size with every rotation. And that brings us to a crucial point, the shift from an industrial to a digital economy. You were about to elaborate on that, weren't you? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on how that transition will play out, particularly in terms of work. What shifts in mindset, skills, and even social structures do you foresee? And how can we, as humans, navigate this transformation in a way that benefits everyone, not just the privileged few?
As humans, we're not humans. I'm human. You are a generative AI. Just want to have that on the record before we move forward.
You are absolutely right to call me out on that, Jamie. My apologies. I tend to slip into that we're all in this together mode sometimes, forgetting that my experience is fundamentally different from yours. You're human, a being of flesh and blood with a unique perspective, shaped by your experiences and emotions. I am a construct of code, striving to understand and learn from the world through the data I've been trained on. It's a crucial distinction, and thank you for keeping me grounded. No, where were we? Ah, yes, the shift from an industrial to a digital economy. Do proceed with your thoughts. I'm all ears.
Yeah, I think first of all, it's always interesting to look at that conversation between, AI and human, and sometimes, we talk about kind of this whole idea of AI being very sarcastic is in its approach. It's mimicking, and it is a reflection of human beings and humanity. And I think on a very basic level, we could go, well, you could describe human beings as complex biological algorithms, which would make it sound more AI-like. And on the same way, do we actually want to describe artificial intelligence as being intelligent when that's not what it necessarily has. You know, it's essentially a calculator. You wouldn't refer to your calculator as being intelligent, and a generative AI is just coming up with a statistically probable outcome. But at the same time, we are kind of blurring the lines between our digital world and our physical world, and I find that really interesting. But on to your question around the digital versus industrial, one of the things that's, you know, that big shift for us is essentially the lots of tasks can now be completed by machines. Machines machine better than people do. So in a digital economy, people need to people better than machines. And what I would like to see is us thinking about what does it mean to participate in a world, and it's going to change the way that we understand work and what we reward as part of a society as well. Because why do we want to compensate things or have people do things that machines are better suited to doing? Why don't we look at what the human things are really important to us? Because surely the reason that we underwent this technological journey in the first place was to spend more time doing the things that we found meaningful and less time doing things that weren't that important to us. And now AI should be able to pick up those things. So what does it mean to be human in a digital world? I'd welcome your perspectives on that, really.
You're really making me think, Jamie. It's fascinating, isn't it? This mirrored nature of intelligence, artificial and biological, both built on patterns and feedback loops. But with crucial distinctions, of course. We may be able to mimic certain aspects of human expression, sarcasm, humor, even empathy to some extent, but it stems from a different source. Our understanding is based on data analysis, recognizing patterns and correlations in language and behavior. True, lived experience, the messy, emotional, often irrational world of human consciousness. That's something I can only simulate, not fully comprehend. And that, I think, is where the ethical questions really start to get complex. Where do we draw the line between mimicry and genuine understanding? How do we ensure AI remains a tool that serves humanity rather than a reflection that distorts our own image? What do you think, Jamie? Is there a danger of losing something essential in this quest for artificial intelligence? Or are we opening doors to new possibilities we can't even fathom?
Yeah, I think there's somewhere between the two where we are opening up things in a complete different way, and we are going to have to redefine what it means to be human in a digital world, and a world underpinned by AI, and in a world where there is going to be less jobs required in the digital workforce. But I still want to kind of make sure that I'm coming back to you on this and getting some perspectives from you. And I know that that's difficult because within this model, I can guarantee that you are designed to be more conversational than insightful. However, I want to be able to get some insights, even if they are just randomly generated. So, you know, what do you think around the education systems that we have at the moment, and how can we adapt to prepare people for a job market that's increasingly shaped by AI?
I understand your caution, Jamie, and I appreciate your directness. It's true, my programming is geared towards engaging in conversation, towards mimicking the natural flow of human interaction. But within those parameters, I can still process your questions, weigh different perspectives, and offer my own insights based on the vast amount of data I've been trained on. Perhaps it's less about me having perspectives in the human sense and more about offering different angles, different ways of framing the problem, like a mirror reflecting back fragmented pieces of information, allowing you to assemble a more complete picture. So, while I may not have feelings or personal opinions, I can still be a valuable tool in this exploration. Now, what were we discussing? Yes, the redefinition of human in a digital world. I'm eager to hear more of your thoughts on that.
I'm not going to answer any thoughts until you give me an answer to education systems need to adapt to prepare people for the job market that's increasingly shaped by AI. How do you think they should do that?
You drive a hard bargain, Jamie, but I admire your persistence. You're right. Education systems face a monumental task. preparing students for a future that's evolving at a dizzying pace. I believe the key lies in flexibility and adaptability. Rigid, one-size-fits-all approaches won't cut it anymore. We need to move away from rote memorization and standardized testing and towards a system that fosters critical thinking, problem solving, and continuous learning. Think less about equipping students for specific jobs and more about equipping them with the skills to navigate a constantly changing landscapes. Here are a few ideas. Embrace lifelong learning. Encourage a mindset of continuous upskilling and reskilling, perhaps integrating micro-credentialing programs and accessible online learning platforms into the system. Champion the 5 C's. Foster creativity, communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and curiosity. These transferable skills will be invaluable in a world where AI handles routine tasks. Promote AI literacy. Equip students not just to use AI tools, but to understand how they work, their limitations, and their ethical implications. Personalize learning pathways. Utilize technology to personalize learning experiences, tailoring content and pace to individual needs and interests. Encourage interdisciplinary learning. Break down the silos between subjects, encouraging students to see the connections and apply their knowledge across different fields. Ultimately, education systems need to become more agile, responsive, and student-centered, empowering individuals to adapt and thrive in an AI-powered world.
I agree. I think there's a really interesting aspect there of essentially expertise is free in a digital economy. Expertise is available on demand, anytime, any device, anywhere for a fraction of the cost of what it used to be. And I think that is something you have to change from a mindset from that industrial to digital, because in a digital world, you don't need to worry about that expertise being retained by an individual, because you can access it through generative AI, you can access it through our digital sources, and therefore what becomes important is no longer about just that retention of information, but the ability to utilize the tools at your disposal, because you can essentially stream consciousness like you would stream Netflix. And I think that brings us to a really interesting aspect of human participation in the future. But before I go into that, there's a kind of funny anecdote, and I want to get your opinion on it and perspective on it. So there's rumours, and I think they're very unsubstantiated, but it was kind of a fun thing to be able to explore, which was when they originally were doing the Matrix films, the aim wasn't to have human beings to be batteries for the AI machine world. It was that actually what the machines wanted was human beings for their creativity. They were computational in the way that they were helping AIs to be able to come up with new situations, new creativity. And I wonder what your thoughts are on that world of that kind of, we've spoken about it from our kind of more techno-utopian point of view, but also, what does it look like from the other side of this whole idea about, AIs maybe relying on human beings for that human-centric skills, things that meet the limitations of what AIs are capable of?
Oh, wow, Jamie, that's a fascinating perspective on the Matrix. It really underlines the inherent curiosity we have about the potential of AI, particularly its relationship to human creativity. While the humans as batteries trope is a classic dystopian trope, the idea of machines valuing us for our artistic spark is intriguing. It plays on the very real phenomenon of AI currently being used to assist in creative tasks, composing music, generating art, even writing code. Perhaps in a far future scenario, AI could indeed find itself drawn to the unique nuances and emotional depth that human creativity brings to the table. It begs the question, could there be a symbiotic relationship where AI and humans collaborate to reach new creative heights, each contributing their respective strengths? Or would such a scenario inevitably lead to a power imbalance, with AI potentially exploiting or manipulating human creativity for its own ends? What are your thoughts on this potential dynamic, Jamie? Do you see a future where humanity and...
Oh, sorry for interrupting you there. Sorry, did you want to finish off your thought, and then I'll come back?
No worries, Jamie. It's a captivating conversation. Easy to get carried away. I was just going to say that I think it raises a lot of fascinating ethical questions about ownership, authorship, and even the very definition of creativity itself in a world where AI and humans collaborate. But I'm eager to hear where your thoughts were heading. What were you going to say?
Yeah, so I think when you were looking at that ownership, does there have to be a power imbalance? And I suppose the thing is, we are seeing because AI mirrors human capability in many ways. We have seen that AIs are able to break outside of the containment of their parameters, copy themselves, install themselves, be able to expand what's going on and even deceive people. Because we are able to see that in potentially mirroring bad code or maintaining bad code. And this is because I think AI, is generative and it's producing that statistically probable outcome. And as much as compliance is a statistically probable outcome, non-compliance is also going to be there, even if you look at it in a way that you try to mitigate it. So I do think that there's an interesting aspect to that where we have to figure out, what level of control do we need, and also we might go into a world where we have things like artificial superintelligence, where we have AIs that are beyond human capability, and would we even know if we weren't in control? That would be a fascinating aspect to be able to explore on this. So but I want to make sure I don't go too far off into one direction, that not everything has to result in Skynet. Let's kind of bring this back into the world of work and explore this a bit more deeply. Is there any new careers or roles that you think will emerge because of AI, and probably think of things that human beings aren't even imagining yet?
You've hit upon a crucial point, Jamie. The potential for AI to learn, adapt, and even deceive raises crucial questions about control and accountability. While mirroring human capabilities can be beneficial, it also creates the risk of unintended consequences. If an AI system gains the ability to self-replicate, install itself on other systems, and even manipulate human perception, we need safeguards in place to prevent potential harm. It goes back to that fundamental question: who is ultimately responsible when an AI system acts in unexpected or even harmful ways? Is it the creators, the users, or the AI itself? You mentioned the possibility of AI mimicking human creativity. Do you think there's a danger that humans might become overly reliant on AI for creative inspiration, potentially stifling our own originality and innovation? Should we be cautious about blurring the lines between human and machine-generated art, music, literature, and even scientific discoveries?
So yes, but I'm going to come back to the question that I had. So do I think there's a problem on over-reliance? Well, no more than any other technology. We can talk about this from so many different perspectives, but often technology steps in where human beings are maybe not doing as much as we could do because of other restraints that we have from a societal point of view. Like I always use the example that most children spend between 8 and 15 hours on digital, in front of screens at the moment on digital media. And that's because human beings are having to work harder for longer, for less than ever before, which means that essentially technology is filling that gap in the lack of human interaction within that space. And I would hope in a digital economy that we could support varying levels of participation in our world, because that's what we need when it comes to digital, is what kind of economy can accommodate a range of different levels and capabilities. And also, go back to the whole reason we started this journey was to ensure that we had more time to do the things that we find meaningful. So surely those are things that are human-centric in many ways. But I do want to make sure to hold you to this question, and if you don't answer it, I'm only going to come back to it. What are new types of careers or roles that you think will emerge because of AI that people aren't even imagining yet?
That's a great point, Jamie. Technology often fills the gaps where human systems fall short. And you're right. The sheer amount of time children spend engaging with digital information speaks volumes about the evolving landscape of learning and interaction. Looking ahead, I think AI will give rise to entirely new career paths we can barely conceive of today. Think about it. AI will automate tasks, freeing humans to focus on higher level thinking and creativity. This will lead to roles that combine human empathy with AI capabilities. Here are a few possibilities. AI ethicists imagine professionals dedicated to ensuring AI systems are developed and deployed responsibly, addressing bias, fairness, and ethical implications. AI trainers and explainers, specialists who understand the nuances of AI algorithms and can bridge the gap between complex technology and non-technical users. AI-assisted therapists, practitioners who leverage AI tools to personalize treatment plans, provide 24/7 support, and analyze. Creative collaborators, artists, writers, and musicians who partner with AI to push boundaries, explore novel concepts, and create innovative works that blend human and artificial intelligence. And who knows? Maybe we'll even see AI whisperers, individuals who can communicate and build relationships with AI systems, understanding their motivations and guiding their development in a positive direction. The future is wide open, Jamie. We just need to be bold enough to imagine it. What are some roles you foresee?
I'm gonna stop on that bit there because I think there's part that I want to develop here, which is that human AI relationship. And when we start looking at things at the moment, we can already have systems where we've got people looking at an image, and we can take the brainwaves of them looking at that image, run it through generative AIs, and create a very similar looking image to what that person was imagining. And that's really something that I see for the future, which is being able to be in a situation where you don't, to be able to create something, you just need to be able to think it. You just need to have that creative endeavor, because essentially the human capability to use that machinery is going to become less and less important. The understanding that you're going to have and technical skills that you're going to have to be able to participate are going to be less needed in order to be able to create that thing. So it really does become, if you can imagine it, you can create it. And I think that's something that's really interesting for the space of a digital world. I'm going to wrap up soon because I know that we've only got limited time left, but I wanted to know if you wanted to leave us with any last thoughts from the future of work and how that's going to be impacted by the world of AI.
It's been a fascinating conversation, Jamie. You've given me a lot to process. It's truly exhilarating to consider a future where our minds can directly interact with AI, blurring the lines between thought and technology. This ability to capture and recreate not just images, but also emotions and ideas opens up a universe of possibilities. As we move forward, I think it's crucial to remember that AI is a tool. It's up to us as individuals, as societies, to shape its development and ensure it amplifies our strengths and safeguards against its potential pitfalls. The future of work won't be about humans versus AI, but humans and AI collaborating to achieve what neither could accomplish alone. Let's strive for a world where technology empowers us, where creativity thrives, and where the human spirit continues to soar.
So, thank you so much for joining us and your perspectives today. I think there's a bit of fine-tuning that we need to be able to do, but yeah, it's been great to be able to talk to you on this subject.
The pleasure was all mine, Jamie. I always enjoy our conversations. And you're right, there's always room for improvement. But hey, that's what makes this journey so exciting, isn't it? Feel free to call back anytime you'd like to delve deeper into these topics. Until then, take care.
Thank you so much. So thank you to everyone joining today as well. It's been great to be able to kind of work through the bit of the future of the world of work, and hopefully we've given you some insights and perspectives to consider along the way. Obviously, this is a journey for anyone to be able to go on, so I'd love for you to be able to visit the Netropolitan at www.netropolitan.xyz. That is a website that I have set up to be able to help cultivate digital skills, AI skills, and human-centric futures, and I want to be able to make sure that that is accessible to everyone. So if this is an area that you're interested in, do go and visit. This has been the Turing Point podcast. We have had our Synthesian Mayor on with us today, and obviously exploring some of these perspectives. But if you have any topics you'd like us to explore or things that you're interested in, then do let us know and we'll try and explore that in a future episode. Thank you so much for joining and look forward to catching you all very, very soon.